The Romans. Warriors, engineers, inventors and conquerors. The Roman Republic and Empire each lasted for 500 years. And the Romans were in Britain for nearly 400 years. Their skills and knowledge changed the world and influenced how we live to the present day. The Roman Empire was massive, covering most of the ancient world. If you had to walk from one end to the other end of the empire, it would take you 80 days. And that was nearly 1,900 years before the first plane, car or train. So why did the Roman Empire want to invade Britain, known in Roman times as Britannia? Here are some ideas. Britain was rich in copper, tin, iron, lead, salt and precious metals, materials that were high in demand in the Roman Empire. Grain was needed to feed the growing Roman army. Revenge against Britain's tribes for supporting the Gauls, from modern-day France, against the Roman occupation of Gaul, Britannia could provide a supply of slaves. In 54 to 55 BC, Emperor Julius Caesar tried to invade Britain twice. The second time, he defeated one of Britannia's biggest tribes. But while he was there, the Gauls attacked the weakened Roman army who'd been left in Gaul. So Julius Caesar and his army had to return to help. Emperor Claudius ordered a third invasion in AD 43. They landed in the southeast of Britain, defeating many of the local tribes and taking control of most of that area, including what would later be called London. Just 30 years later, the Romans had successfully conquered Britain, including Devon. So what did a Roman look like? Here is a Roman centurion, and that rather funky looking hairpiece on his helmet is called a crest. It helped soldiers see him and follow him into battle. It also made him look taller and slightly more important. This centurion is holding a pilum, a type of spear. It was thrown just like a javelin, and it had a specifically designed point that would make it difficult to pull out of an enemy's shield. Oh, can't pull it out my shield. And that made the shield completely unusable. If the pillar missed and struck the ground, it was likely to bend, meaning it just couldn't be thrown back. The centurion is wearing armour called lorica segmentata. Made of steel strips and held together by leather and brass hinges, it was very flexible. But man, was it heavy! And soldiers had to help one another to put them on and lace them up. The cloth around the centurion's neck is to stop the armour rubbing. For shoes, they wore what looked like a pair of sandals with iron studs on their soles, which were good for walking and running on different terrains. The Roman military had a staple diet of wheat, vegetables, and meat. Rationing of food was decided by the location in the empire the soldiers were based. The scutum or shield is made from wood and covered in leather with an edge of bronze. The Romans loved using the testudo formation. It may sound like a hot new dance craze, but it was a way that soldiers could move in battle using their shields to protect themselves from missiles thrown at them by the enemy. This formation was incredibly useful when trying to invade an enemy's fort. Oh, what is that smell? Oh. On a rather smelly note, the Roman army, they didn't use toilet paper. Instead, they used a communal sponge. Ugh. The sponge was rinsed out after each use. So what did the Romans ever do for me? The number of days in a year. We use 365 days in a year because that was the order of Emperor Julius Caesar in 45 BC, to create a year calendar consisting of 12 months and based on the solar year. July is even named after Julius Caesar. Many of the words we use in the language we speak are based on the Roman language of Latin. They gave us early versions of central heating, concrete, straight roads, and aqueducts, which are bridges that carry water. This is just a few examples of the many influences of the Romans on the modern world. So what evidence do we have that Romans came to Devon? Well, we have evidence from written accounts from the time, including how Roman legate Vespasian, a high-ranking military officer, led a Roman legion of soldiers and conquered two of Britain's largest tribes. Exeter is actually named after the Roman fort Isca, built in around AD 50. This was later replaced with a Roman town, and in AD 200 a wall was built to protect the city. The wall was a whopping 2,500 metres long, and large parts can actually still be seen today. Archaeologists have discovered many items from the time of the Romans in Devon. Until recently, it was believed that the Romans just stopped at Exeter. But in 2007, when two responsible metal detectorists made a discovery of some Roman coins at Ipplepen, ideas began to change. The find was the start of a major archaeological project, unearthing coins, pottery, and fragments of bone dating back to the Roman era. The archaeological dig was supported by local and national organisations, with many of the items found becoming part of the Torquay Museum collection. What was life like in Roman Devon? You may have lived in one of these. This is a round house. The walls of the house are made from mud, wood and straw, with a thatched roof. In the middle of the house there would have been a fireplace for cooking and heating the house. If you were a woman living in Britain during the Roman occupation in the 2nd century AD, you may have worn something like this: a long linen undertunic with hand-woven decoration on the sleeves. Now, a tunic is a simple slip-on garment. On top of this is a Gaelic coat made of wool with a check weave of blue and grey. Around the shoulders is a cape made of different shades of green coarse weave wool, and the necklace is made of green and blue glass beads. The Romans introduced many fruits and vegetable crops unknown to farmers in Britain. Turnips, peas, garlic, cabbages, celery, onions, leeks, cucumbers and cherries are just a few of these new crops. This would have changed the way farmers worked. They would have also had to send a large proportion of the crops they produced to the Roman ruling classes. Why did the Romans leave Britain? In AD 410, the Roman capital was under attack, and this was done by many foreign tribes. Rome desperately needed more soldiers to defend the city and other parts of the empire. So, the Romans left Britain, and they did this in order to reinforce their army. The emperor at the time was called Honorius, and he just basically wrote a goodbye letter to the people of Britain as he went off with his army. He wrote, "Fight bravely and defend your lives. You're on your own now." So this ends our brief glimpse at Roman Britain. Our Roman heritage will last forever. It will be studied for many, many years to come, and no doubt many more exciting Hollywood films will be made based on the incredible lives of Romans.